Hey everybody, in this episode of the MacGyver After Show, we're breaking down Season 1, Episode 9, Chisel. Find out what Mac, Jack, and Riley do when they're trapped in an American embassy and everybody's coming to get them. Let's do it.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, yes, there it is.
That sweet, sweet music.
That's right. We can never get enough of the 80s MacGyver thing kicking us in. Oh, wait, we always have to take a look up at the YouTube there. Look at that. Yeah, light that spark there. Do it, Mac. Welcome, everybody, to the MacGyver After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. We're breaking down Season 1, Episode 9. Boom. That's right.
Chisel.
Yes.
Chisel.
Look at that.
Interesting.
Yes.
I was like, chisel. I don't know. I'm just trying to think.
Yeah, because usually it's always like there's some kind of tool that
has
he uses.
some reason, but I don't remember him using the chisel. He used a lot of tools in this one.
Yeah.
But
unless he was going to chisel another thing that the Latvian ambassador gave them, the statue that he broke. Maybe he was going to chisel something out of that.
Oh, wait, wasn't he chiseling that? Yeah, he broke it on the ground, and then he was like, he made balls out of it.
See?
There we go.
There we go.
Chiseling the balls.
Look, we figured it out, guys. Look at that.
Doing it ourselves.
Welcome, everybody. I'm one of your hosts, Frank Moran. You can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie.
And I'm your other host, Mike Kalinowski. You can follow me at Mike Kalinowski on Twitter.
Yes. Now, before we went up to join you folks, you can also, actually, before we even do that, you can like us on Facebook. Give us those 5 stars on iTunes. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hop in the chat. Share your thoughts about this episode or the series in particular, or in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, as we were talking about before the show started, we both felt like this episode was kind of probably one of our favorites this season.
This has got to be the episode where I was like, okay, I think they found their niche, what works. It was a little different than the normal formula that we're used to, I think.
Yes.
And you could tell that, and I think it's telling because usually TV shows take 6, 7, 8, 9 episodes. I remember with Arrow, it didn't really get good till like episode 18 of the first season, and that's when it really kicked off for that show. But every show, you're finding your footing. You're finding how the actors' voices, what they speak to the character, and they play to their strengths. And I think this episode definitely was like, okay, this is what I want to see more of. Go this direction with it.
Well, I feel like AfterBuzz's own Roxy Stryer, her motto is, hey, you should give every series 6 episodes and then make your decision on it.
That's her standby. Good for her. I like that.
Usually, you can tell.
That's the problem with a lot of television nowadays is networks, even after like 1 or 2, they're like, it's done. They don't do the full half-season episode order or full season. They do, a couple episodes, and they'll do like what they call the back 9, front 9, and all that stuff, and they call that a full season nowadays. But most shows, you're 1, 2 episodes, you can't. That's not enough time. It sucks. It's terrible that happens. There's so many good shows out there that just don't make it past that.
Yeah, because I feel like the writer's got to be figuring out like tweaking the formula.
Right. It's like. And what the audience likes or doesn't like, you can't get that feedback right away.
Yeah.
But I think we have this culture of, everything. There's so much now that's out there. There's a great article in the SAG newsletter that you get like once a month, and it's about that there's so much content out there now. There's so much more work for actors and directors and writers, but the attention span of everyone, it's like you got to grab them and you got to keep them.
Yeah, and I feel like it's like everything's got to come out of the box perfect. It's got to be like this fully realized 4-star perfect example of your episode, of your series.
Yeah.
Well, let's tackle one of the things that we've had some discussions about for the course of the season here, and we'll just figure out how we like how they're handling this so far. Bozer.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I think we talked about this. Didn't we said maybe 2 episodes ago, before the Murdoch episode, that they got to bring him into the fold somehow, or I think you talked about it, like there's got to be something will happen where he'll be brought into the fold. So we got that.
Yes. Do you like the idea of him being now part of the Phoenix Foundation, kind of doing like the masks and all that kind of stuff?
I knew where they were going with it when they had that scene where they're interrogating him, where they're like, your handiwork, this and that. And then they shot back to that picture of him with that George Washington mask.
Yeah. Got their money's worth out of that mask, man. I'm always torn for when you've got these government agencies and they bring in outside people like that. Like they brought in Riley from the beginning. Like, you mean out of your entire organization you couldn't find a hacker? Needed her, but it worked for her. But so this, it's like, and it seems like he's going to be much more in the office. He's not a field guy. Danger's not his middle name, like he said. That's true.
So, but he wasn't as forced to me this episode. I liked his We'll see what happens. We'll see. How about you? What do you think?
I'm going to be curious because, I mean, certainly as we're talking about, he's not going to be in the field. He's going to be much more the back end, working with the science crew and all that stuff. But this show seems to be so much about being out on the mission.
Right.
It's not about prepping for a mission. It's not about like those. They're not really LA based for their missions at all. So they're not like coming back and hanging out in the lab trying to figure out like a crime.
It's so interesting you said that because when they're talking about, this is what we got to do, we got to go for it, and then it cuts to the mission's already going. I like that. We didn't have to get the build up to finding the guy. There he is. He sees us. They went right to it.
Yeah,
that was cool.
So for that, I'm wondering like how are we gonna? I don't know if we're gonna see more of Bozer. I mean, we'll know that he's in the inner circle, so to speak. Right. But I don't know how much like more we'll see of him because.
And will they need masks and stuff? I mean, disguises maybe.
I don't know.
I think maybe again that's going to maybe. You guys out there and a lot of people that watch the show are kind of like, okay, this Bozer character at home in the apartment, this is boring.
Yeah.
This is every episode we got to deal with this. And I think they like the character. It's a good foil. It's his outside life now brought in. So I think the writers had to find a way to fold him into it.
Yeah. So, because I'm also thinking like the way that the show's structured now, as we're talking about, usually they're in Thornton's office, they figure out what the mission is, and boom, they're in it right after that.
Yeah.
And I like that style, that kind of pace. Do I want to now see it kind of slow down with them? Well, let's go over to the lab and talk to Bozer and see what kind of stuff we might need for this mission.
This is definitely going to be interesting to see what they're doing with this.
Yeah.
Because they didn't really give him a job or like a title. He's just there.
Yeah, and
we'll see.
I felt like they was like, oh, I guess I have to put my budding film career on hold. I'm like, yeah, it's all right, Bozer.
Yeah, I think they weren't chomping at the bit to get you out there making movies, pal.
What I did like, though, is comparing Bozer's and Mac's uses of paperclip skills.
Oh, yeah.
Because Mac, I felt like this is one of his weakest paperclip
they're
things.
handcuffs, right?
Yeah, that's kind of weak. But then Bozer just makes a big, long chain.
Now, did I miss why they said that it was in there, the bowl of paper clips? I guess I know I missed one or two at the beginning, and I don't know if I missed like this why that has to be there.
It's
just Mac's thing.
I guess it's Mac's thing. Like he will just pick up a paper clip, and that's the way he just kind of like gets into the mission, I guess, which seems odd. But it's like they've never really addressed like Mac is borderline Asperger's, and he needs these paper clips in here to be able to do something.
Again, great point by you, Frank. It's like we said last week how you wanted to kill off Bozer. This is like if they would have given Mac a little maybe tinge of autism or Asperger's like the movie The Accountant with Ben Affleck.
Yes.
Or just as a nuanced level. Wow, that's intriguing.
Yeah.
To see like a show, a daily show, a weekly show, I'm saying, action adventure with your lead hero has something like that, and it would make a little more sense.
Yeah, he just needs to get that.
It's
before
something's
he can
there,
do it.
and yeah, he clicks on a different level than most people, and yeah, good. I might have to. I might steal that.
Right.
That's a great story idea to have, man. Good. Yeah, I didn't mean to stop in the
no.
middle of it right there, but that's
it did make me laugh though when he just holds up Bozer's just like thing, and he's like, nice. I'm like, really? That was just him, just kind of stringing some paper.
I think I could do that. I think all of us can do that.
Yeah. So I guess Mac would like our work. I guess I'll take that.
Yeah, all right.
We find, though, that the mission this time, though, is they have to go to Latvia. Not Latveria, guys. Sorry, no appearance by Dr. Doom.
That's why I was like, Latvia. Yeah.
So they had to capture Janice, who's a member of a terrorist organization.
Now, I thought it was cool because they had said, it almost seems like with ISIS and all these other ones, the FBI, CIA, everyone's is reactive. Mm-hmm. Well, the Phoenix Foundation is going to be proactive and go after these before they become the next ISIS and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, that's really cool. Now they kind of have like a mission, not mission statement for them, but it's not putting out fires wherever. It's like we're being proactive now. And I was like, that's really cool.
And I like that transition so much from them like, all right, we're going to go do it, to cut to the mission's already gone south.
Yes, because that was boring, that kind of stuff. And we've seen that before, like in it's the Murdoch one, where they're in the museum faking it around.
Yeah.
They cut right to that. So that was nice. I don't know if that's a director's choice. Maybe there was scenes before, but they just said for editing and for time, You know, we've got to condense down, but
Yeah, because I feel like you can almost figure out, like, you know, the kind of stuff that would happen.
Yeah.
And so let's just get right to the cool part where everything just goes south and they've got to just start scrambling.
Right.
And they do split up, and Mac's one that happens to come up across Janice and subdues him before Riley and Jack can help him out.
Yeah.
And I did like the way
What do you say? Let him keep shooting. I'll hear the sounds of the bullets.
Yeah. And I like that it made that little kind of like a smoke grenade or like kind of explosive detonation on the aerosol can. Kind of distract them.
I thought it was funny. It was like, they were spray paint cans, right? And then right behind it was like a freshly spray painted graffiti wall. I was like, okay, they put 2 and 2 together, and they're thinking that's why cans would be there.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
My work is done. I'll just leave this right here.
I'm a rebel. I do graffiti on the wall. I'm like cleaning this thing up, throw my can down.
So they capture him, but of course before they captured him, able to send out an SOS to everybody in his phone contact list saying, "Hey, save me!
I'm in trouble."
Yeah.
And then the chase begins.
That's right.
So now I was a little confused on this. They were trapped. They were in building alleyways, and they didn't know which way out was a clear path. Is that what was keeping them there, right?
Yeah, because
that's why they needed kind of an eye in the sky.
Yeah, and I like that I kind of, and again, Jack. I feel like Jack's role is always to kind of give up something of his to be able to help the mission continue.
Right. Poor guy.
But a cool little eye in the sky that they made.
And that seems plausible. That to me was kind of like, okay, that I would think would work.
Yeah, and so kind of cool to be able to kind of just track it as it goes up until eventually the balloon that they kind of the crude balloon they fashioned just pops and Jack's poor cell phone is no more. Sorry,
and they found a way to get it. They found their secret way to. Why, does my seat keep moving? I might feel bad. I mean, sorry. I think it's just I don't know. I feel like I keep going lower and lower, but maybe it's just me bouncing up and down here.
My mic is shrinking through the course of this episode.
But I thought that was unique again. They really work a lot of his stuff into it, which is great.
Yeah. And it was. I felt like this one. I thought it was a good example. It didn't have so much of the chirons flying around, labeling everything, but a little bit more of the narration with him.
I was just gonna say that. I don't remember it last episode. I think the last time I remember seeing it was the prison break. I don't think it was last episode either.
No, which I like.
Definitely not in this one.
No,
which I love. I don't think we need to know that.
No, just give me the narration. I'm totally cool with it. And so they're able to finally use the eye in the sky, find their way out of the alleyways, get in a car, head to trying to head out of Latvia. But of course, all these people that Janice has contacted,
they're heading for the airport, wasn't it?
Yeah,
they're trying to get to the airport.
And they're just kind of going car by car, wanting to do searches. So they then take off on foot and make it to the American embassy. It seems like a smart place to hide out.
It was very cool because when I knew the plot of the episode, I was like, okay, this is going to be another one of those. I'm sure the writers have a term for episodes where it takes place all in one location. Like the prison episode, that was pretty much all in that location.
Yeah.
So when I knew going in, this was the concept, I was like, oh, okay, here we go, more of this. But almost a good third of the episode was not in the embassy. So I loved that. Again, that was playing against my preconceived notions of an action-adventure TV show. So I loved that. We had a little bit of a foot chase, which was great. I do not like, and this probably speaks just of the show, anytime they get into a car, the green screen in the car. It's been done much better for years now. I don't know why on this show it's just not working for me. It's just I don't know what it is about the green screen in the car to get it to look like they're driving somewhere. It just doesn't work for me.
Guys, you're in soundstage. I got it. All right, let's move.
Yeah. In
fact, we should just never actually see them driving. Just
we don't
cut to
need
them. Get in a car, cut to they're pulling up to wherever they're
getting out of the car, closing the doors.
That's perfect.
We know what's going inside that car. But they make it to the embassy.
Yeah, and that's and of course Alicia Coppola. She's the head of the American embassy.
What is she from? Did you say her name like that? Because
yes, she is.
Because she looked familiar to me. It's like, where have I seen this actress before?
She's been in a few shows, and of course, all
I've got this little thing.
Wait, is that a way to connect to the larger world? Just in the palm of your hand?
Internets.
Ah, look at that.
It's the internets.
Yes.
My favorite word.
So she's been in several TV shows, and they escape me at the moment.
They won't in a second here, Frank.
They won't.
I got us covered.
Yes, I love it. And of course now, but the guys that are that Janice contacted, they're not taking no for an answer. So even though you're in the American embassy, supposed to be safe ground, it's a small band of Marines protecting it. So these guys feel like we outnumber them. We're just going to keep pressing and attacking and storm the embassy.
I loved. It was a nice action scene. I don't think we've seen a good action scene like that, like with a lot of gunfire and a lot of everything like that. I thought it was really cool, like that, and what was interesting, they were calling for help. They called back to base for help, and then it cut to commercial for me. You know, they've got to fit the brakes in, and then when it came to, they were already in the embassy.
Yeah.
So again, that was one of those things you don't need the little bits in between.
Yeah, we didn't like knocking on their hey, come on, can we get in?
This moved. This episode really moved, as some of the other ones didn't. They kind of stumbled a couple times.
Yeah, I feel like it was just nice to pare it down just to exactly what we need to show you to tell the story.
Yeah.
So they find out, though, that they're in the American embassy. They have everybody trying to storm the embassy, and they need backup. And unfortunately, the backup's only going to get there in 6 hours.
6 hours.
So you got to be able to hold that embassy tight against all those people for 6 hours. Doesn't sound possible, especially with the small number of Marines that they've got.
4 Marines outside, and then the house there. So then they're in trouble in the embassy.
And so they start barricading everything up. Of course, the people in the embassy are like,
yeah, they go, I don't want to do this. But I love that the paper.
Yes, I was about
that to me, and he's like doing the math. Because right then I was like, oh, I'm screwed. I'm done. Math?
No.
But he's sitting there writing it out. I'm like, that's cool, and that makes sense. Like how much paper thickness, and I was like, okay, that's really cool.
Yeah, I was impressed when he just starts to anybody that can just do those kind of equations right there, start busting it out. Like, all right, I'm gonna figure out.
That girl actress has a huge list of credits. She's been in on everything, all the TV shows.
There you
That's
go.
probably why I've seen her. Anyway.
Figures out the drag, just and based on that, like how much velocity is lost through one sheet, then you figure out how many would be lost through a whole ream.
So his,
cool.
Yeah, but it was really cool to see them doing that. Like, all right, we're gonna hold off, and then I loved when they got to the point where they started hearing single shots instead of fully auto. So they're like, oh, they're conserving their ammo. Oh, they're in trouble now.
Yeah,
we got to get them inside here, which is great. This whole build up to that part was awesome.
And of course, Janice is like, yes, they're gonna come in here, they're gonna kill you, and everything's fine.
Oh, yeah, so they handcuffed him, and he's like, "You shut up! You're sitting here. You're in trouble."
Yeah, and they actually throw a grenade at him at one point.
And Mac picks it up and tosses it.
Love it.
Ballsy.
And Riley's like, hey, guess what? You were just sitting right in here. They clearly do not care if you live. They'd rather have you dead because you're here inside the embassy. So for all they know, you are talking.
I want to live.
Yeah.
And then to die.
And so he says, all right, I guess I'll help you out.
Yeah.
But how much can you trust this guy?
I don't know if I would have helped. I don't know if I would have uncuffed him.
Yeah.
I know we needed to for the story to move forward, but I don't know if I would have done that.
Yeah, so, I feel like out of all the episodes, this was probably one of the most entertaining, but also the most simple in terms of...
Real simple.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, these guys can they last 6 hours against all these people that want them dead?
Yeah.
And how does Mac just use what's around him to kind of fortify their surroundings?
Right. So they're fortifying, but then they realize because the MPs are running out of bullets, they've got to get them out.
Yes.
And what did he say? I thought he was going to say Trojan horse because he said, what did the Greeks do? And I thought, Trojan horse, okay. But then I forgot what he used the word.
I can't remember the word.
Not palladium?
No, I can't remember.
But to form the shield.
Yes, but almost like something out of 300, so to speak.
Yeah. A phalanx? Maybe phalanx?
Phalanx?
I think that's what the 300 is called when they had their all shields together.
It's a cool
Could be wrong.
Because Mac noticed like that the truck is there, so they get everybody to give up their bulletproof vests,
which the guy didn't want to do.
No, and it's like
that one guy.
Yeah, that guy. I've got a wife that's 8 months pregnant. I got to get back to her. Like,
Mac promised him.
That's true. I promise you. You follow me. I'll get you back.
Yeah.
Like,
I liked it.
But I like the idea. It was cool to see Mac and Jack in action, and we often just see the two of them really kind of handling stuff. But to see them working with even just a four-man unit of Marines was cool.
And they also had a couple beats in there with the two of them talking, which those are great scenes with the two of them. Man, I always like those scenes. And I noticed about halfway through the episode, and I think it worked to the betterment of this episode. We didn't get the constant flashbacks to Thornton.
Yes.
Back at headquarters. It seemed like she was the beginning. Every now and then she'd pop in for the phone call to let them know what's going on, but it just really moved this episode. Maybe that's why it felt different for us. It was just really going. And it set the pace and the height and the tension, I think.
It was great because it's like usually it's like there's a lot of twists and turns or different approaches to this, and this is just like one of the most simple just to talk about episodes so far this season.
Yeah.
But just because it's simple doesn't mean it's any less effective. In fact, it's even more effective than some of the other episodes.
Right.
But they get the Marines in. Now they figure like, hey, these guys, the bad guys outside are also getting backup as well.
Now, wasn't it like they started making? Oh, no, we went to. So they bring them in, and then they started making stuff.
Yes.
But they didn't really say what. They were just making a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
and that was they started making grenades and bombs. So the guys kind of retreated.
Yeah, they wanted to take back the offensive, so to speak.
Yeah, but then they were like, "Oh, maybe that was kind of easy," but then like, "No, it's too easy." Because they're calling it backup.
Yeah, because it's like Mac decides to make it like a little AM radio in there.
That's right.
So they gets the antenna, wires everything together, and they're able to hear like, hey, find me somebody that speaks Latvian.
Yeah.
And figure out, hey, I guess these guys are backing up because they're waiting for reinforcements, which are going to be here in 2 hours, and of course, Mac's reinforcements are going to be there in 3. So
an hour of trouble.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
That's not going to work.
Nah.
How's he going to get? We're heightening the tension in the episode, which is great. Again, ratcheting it up again.
So the idea is, well, we're going to probably have to give up the first floor of the embassy. We're going to have to go up. Right. And then they notice the safe. And they figure out,
like, we got to shred these documents. We got to shred them.
Yes.
Well, she's doing her job still, okay.
Yeah, that's true. And they figure out the Latvian dude's like, wait, as you're saying, he's like, I don't want to die. I'll help you. And so they let him out to help him along.
Right.
And the idea is like, hey, we need you to call your bad guys.
Right.
And say exactly this.
Now, wait. So at this point, they're upstairs. Did they say, we're not going to win this? That had happened, right?
Yes.
So he's like, we're not going to win this, which was a really cool moment. They all kind of realized, we're not getting out of here. Until they go, you know what? We're trying. Oh, because then Dalton talked about, he gave Mac the idea to bring them to him. What he was saying something about, they kind of had that moment with the two of them where it was like, we're going to do, I forgot what MacGyver said to him, but it's like, you just solved it. You figured it out. And he's like, I did? He's like, yeah, by telling us, we're going to bring them to us. So then kind of this, and in my head I said, oh, what, we got a Home Alone moment here? That was going through my head. Was, oh, is this what's going to happen here? But,
especially during that earlier montage of them making stuff. Right. I was like, all right, we're going to wait for the paint can to come and hit the main bad guy.
As much as I love the James Bond film Skyfall, that last 20 minutes is Home Alone.
Yeah.
In his house. So I was like, oh, we're going to get another one of this, of all the different things, which is always cool to see what they would do, and especially with someone like MacGyver in the mix, what would happen. But I didn't really know what they were doing. They bring the safe, and then with the soap.
Yeah.
Was that just to move it?
It was to move it, and realize that you could change the coefficient of friction by putting like the liquid soap on one side of the safe. You can tip it over, and now it's much more easier to move than before.
And I liked how they were building the putty and the coffee things.
Yeah.
That was cool.
So
looked like he was making C4 basically. I mean, it's some kind of puttied explosive.
Does it make you want to try to take like a safe or some kind of metal type object that's really heavy, spray, cover it with liquid soap on one side and see if it'll move?
I think that would work, wouldn't it?
I mean, what I like, the show, they stick pretty close to like hopefully being scientifically accurate. In fact,
I think so. I mean,
I read an article this past week about with Lucas Hill on the show. Just talking about some stuff like happened with that last episode with Nikki in the diner.
Yeah.
How that's going to maybe affect like Jack and his relationship for a few episodes, because he's probably not going to want to tell Jack everything that happened inside there.
Okay.
But he was also mentioning all the different techniques and devices that he kind of makes up on the fly. And the idea is they're supposed to be at least scientifically based in scientific fact.
There's some sound knowledge to them.
Yes,
okay.
And there's only been one, and he wouldn't reveal which one it was, but only one this season so far where he's like, what? That doesn't make any sense. This is impossible. Why are we doing this? This looks terrible.
I was like, John the writer, he's the new guy in this show. John, come on, what is this? Like, oh, I thought it looked cool. I was like, come on, John.
But who gave him a little pep talk, though, was good old George Eads.
Did he?
Yeah, he said, like, hey, you got to just, as long as you sell it, everybody will buy it. And Lucas said when he looked back at the cut and saw how it was edited together, he goes, wow, okay, it may not have been scientifically accurate, but it still looked cool on camera.
Okay. That's interesting to see which one it would be.
Yeah, and actually the one that he said that was probably the closest that they left out a few steps, but very close to how it would happen, was when he made that, turned his cell phone into the camera where he slid it underneath the door to find out if anybody was in the room.
Yeah.
He said like that, so like that so far was like pretty close to exactly how it would happen.
Yeah, that seems like something that would work. Interesting.
Yeah.
So I don't remember if they showed it, but they barricaded. They were trying to trap them in the main room.
Yes.
That's what they were doing. I thought, my first thing is like, they would have them come up to where the barricades were, and they were going to drop the safe on them. And that's what I thought.
Yes.
And then they started walking away. I was like, oh, this isn't going to work. But then I was like, oh, they've closed every other door except the entrance, and that was going to block the entrance?
Yeah, I guess, they basically like trap him right in there. So this way they could get out going through all the furniture, but it's going to take them a long time to move all the furniture. Yeah. They can't go back because the safe falls through the ceiling with all the debris.
Right.
Blocks that doorway. So now they're kind of just trapped in this little...
this little rat in a trap.
Yeah. Which gives them just enough time for Mac and Jack to get Riley, Janice, and the rest of the Marines and the whole embassy staff outside into vehicles, and they take off, head to the airport, get the heck out of Dodge.
They got him out.
Yeah. It was like, I was like, boy, that seemed pretty... Like, once they got to that point, everybody's like, hey, all right, cool, we're just going out the window, we're done. I was like, that was...
Yeah, that was the kind of the big to-do.
Yeah. I was like, that was easy. Okay. Yeah. That's it. I mean, certainly...
Right, yeah.
Took a while to get to that point, but once they got there, it was like, oh, everybody's just jumping out the window, we're cool, we're happening.
Had the little moment with the kind of jerky... agent guy,
yes,
which was nice, little redemption for that guy to kind of not be such a jerk.
You kept your promise and you got us home.
I'm gonna go see my son, my daughter now, and my wife.
Yeah, and we had a little scene with Alicia Coppola as Mac and Jack get over here talking to her daughter.
Yeah.
Saying, I tried my hardest to get home. I'll try my hardest to get there for you.
Now you wonder if whenever I see stuff like that where we don't see the actress, like, did they have the episode edited as like, we really need something here to kind of, give a little more tension in the scene. It's like, we'll bring the actress back in. We can't film it, but let's ADR her.
Yeah.
And we'll throw a little bit in there. Because it just seems like, why wouldn't they have looked at her? Or shown a shot of her on the phone, maybe crying.
That's right. I mean,
nitpicky things that I look at that I'm just kind of like,
I mean, I guess if you have Alicia Coppola in your episode, you want to give her some stuff to do. I think she's a member of the Coppola family.
There we go.
Yes. So you want to give her something to do. So I guess that's why you give her that little extra scene of, talking to a loved family member.
Yeah.
But, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, not really key to the episode. You could have cut that out and been just fine. But they make it back. They get everybody safe and sound, and Mac runs into Bozer, and they have a nice little bro moment where apologies are made. Being mad at you is like being mad at a little puppy, as Bozer says.
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
Can't do it. You want to.
Yeah.
But you can't.
And now Bozer's part of the Phoenix Foundation.
I don't know.
Yeah. And of course he's excited because girls love spies. And
but you can't tell anyone then.
Yeah.
He's been fired. Come on now. I think he's gonna be like the worst spy ever. I think bringing him into this is gonna be kind of make him like Rowan Atkinson and Mr. Bean. I think that's what we're gonna have now, like hijinks and stuff. Or are they gonna make him into like a Simon Pegg on Mission Impossible, where he's the kind of bumbling guy but knows his stuff, but then eventually becomes a field guy?
Well, I don't. I bet he doesn't become a field guy, but I bet at some point he has to go out in the field for some reason.
Help him.
Yeah, and then you get, as much as he doesn't want to go out there, he's gonna have to go out. So I feel like that'll be coming down the pipe. But I mean, because all right, so you are working for a spy organization, say the Phoenix Foundation.
Okay.
Maybe you're not in the field. Maybe you're just like Bozer. You're going to be like behind the scenes working on something. Would you be able to not let that leak to anybody, like any women you met in your life?
I think I'd sound kind of boring if I wasn't out in the field. I sit at a computer all day looking at monitoring phone traffic.
But they don't need to know exactly what you do.
Hey. I can't tell you what I do, but no, because then I'll come off like Bill Paxton in True Lies. Very serious. I can't tell you what I do. That's exactly who I'll be. No.
Grow your cheesy little mustache. You're all set.
That's what he'll be if he starts talking about it. He can't. Bozer's got to keep. Maybe that's going to eat him up alive. He'll hate it. He won't tell the chicks about it, but he can't.
Yeah, but but why is he worried about that? If he's got Riley, he's got
he's done. He hasn't gotten any digits from her in 2 episodes.
No, that's true.
They got to stretch those 10 digits out for 22 episodes.
But that just seems like he gets the extra 4 digits, but then that's just a phone call to get it set up a date.
I don't see them together either.
Yeah, neither do I. I mean, I feel like she would go out with him because she is so busy she doesn't have anybody else that she could possibly meet to go out with.
Yeah, but then they're mixing love and work in a dangerous environment. That's not going to be good for anyone.
No. I mean, Mac's caught in the middle. How does he deal with that?
That's trouble.
Oof, that doesn't sound good at all. It's one of those, like, this is such a fast episode to recap because, as we said, it's, very pretty straightforward episode.
Yeah. I did like that little bit with Mac when he kind of had the whole moment of conscience where he's like, I was the one that involved Bozer in trouble. Now all these people, I did this. Mm-hmm. It was my choice to bring them here. So I like that conscience about him, that real kind of, it weighs on him.
Well, I mean, we got a few minutes here. We're 9 episodes into the season.
Okay.
We're off for 2 weeks. Episode 10, we're getting close to kind of a little winter break.
We did that for you at home.
That's right. We asked them, guys, hey.
Thanksgiving break.
Yeah, give these guys Thanksgiving weekend off,
Yeah,
please.
come on.
Thank you. But 9 episodes in, we've talked about, like, hey, as Roxy says, give a show 6 episodes before you make a decision.
Yeah.
How do you feel 9 episodes into the season? Do you feel like with this episode, which we seem to like the best so far,
right.
have they kind of hit a formula and a way of writing this to carry on?
I hope so, because, they greenlit the full season early on. It wasn't after like the second or third episode. Yeah. So I don't think episode 9 was shot. I don't think they saw this far in advance, They might have had the script for it, maybe. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I'm very excited. I was hoping it was going to get this far and hoping it would get better, because I was enjoying it, but it wasn't a show that I was looking forward. I wouldn't say looking forward to. I liked the character, and every episode showed a little bit more of something to get me hooked. Where now it's like, no, I want to keep watching more, because it's kind of broken that formula that it had. That was like, we knew what was going to happen every episode.
Well, and so far, I mean, there's been a slight hint at a mythology here with Nikki and this organization that she works for.
Yeah.
Other than like this episode that she was in last week with Murdoch, we haven't seen her since the pilot episode. Are you happy with the amount of mythology that's been kind of bit and parceled throughout the season? Would you want more?
There's got to be not a science, that's the word, of a showrunner to doing something like that, where it gets enough, where the audience always remembers it, but not enough where you're like, it's the main thing. Like, I didn't think about it at all this episode, the whole Nikki stuff.
Yeah.
So that's good. You don't want to always be like thinking about it, but when it does pop up, you're like, oh yeah, that. So I can't speak of the right way to do something like that. I'm trying to think of shows, because think about it, like shows like Lost, where it just compounds on top of itself over and over again. So it just doesn't help when there's so much of it. But I think this is very linear, maybe is the right word I'm trying to think of for that thing.
Because I feel like it definitely, if they wanted to change the focus and really embrace mythology at this episode, it does change the focus of the series. Because you'd have to change it to pretty much every episode. They're pursuing some different lead to try to find out Nikki or this organization.
I'm trying to think of the words. There's the 2 different types of shows. There's I want to say it's a procedural or a serial. Mm-hmm. Both dramas.
Yes.
Where this is procedural, where every week it's a whodunit, how do we get out of whatever. Where serial is much more, I guess, maybe like, Sopranos or Game of Thrones-ish, where it's all connected. You got to watch them all. Mm-hmm. If you miss one, you're kind of screwed. For this, it's different. So, but it's always nice to have that bit of the serial. That with you got the through line now with Nikki, that kind of layers it in, so it's not just repetitive every week.
Yeah, and now with the addition of Murdoch, who serialized versus episodic. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
There
we go.
There you go. So for that, do you have any? Would you rather see this be more serialized? Are you happy more with the episodic?
No, I like it. I don't know. I would like to see a little bit more, maybe a little bit more serialized. Maybe a little bit more. I don't know. Because I like being able to miss it. If you miss an episode, you don't feel like, and as much as episodic is like Flash and Arrow is, it is kind of becoming serialized, those shows. They used to be much more of like the standalone episodes, where those shows have kind of gone serialized.
Yeah, because I feel like the formula of working towards like a big bad.
A big bad, yeah. So I'm behind on a lot of those shows, and now it's kind of, I'm getting lost. I can't just pick up with the episode that just happened, on those shows.
That's true.
So it's tough, and I think episodic lends itself to our viewing habits now as a culture, because you want to just be able to watch it when you want to watch it. Episodic, it's like I can watch this or I can watch this, and not be left behind instead of having to go back and binge watch 3 or 4 to catch up.
Yeah. I feel like it, again, I guess it just depends on the genre. Like, this is a genre that I feel like it's great to be more episodic with the bits of serialization in there. But then I feel like a Flash or a Green Arrow, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., things like that.
Yeah.
I want to embrace more of the serialized aspect of it. I want to feel like we're charting some sort of journey towards either 1 or 2 big bads during the course of the season.
Yeah, because MacGyver really doesn't need a big bad, per se. Yeah.
But it's nice to have those reoccurring elements occasionally, like Nikki, this mysterious organization she's working for. Now that we got Murdoch in the mix.
Yeah.
Which Lucas still said like he'll be coming back definitely again before the end of the season. Yeah. So it'll be cool to see him back in the mix too.
Oh yeah.
And I'd be curious to see how he views MacGyver now after he's been incarcerated and kind of broke out of wherever they've had him.
Yeah, I would actually like to see more of the Phoenix Foundation, like the inner workings, because it seems like they show up and they're in the office and that's it. So maybe now Bozer's stuff will open that up, because I've always loved with Mission Impossible the IMF, like the organization. So when we saw Mission Impossible 3. And they opened up that world, and we saw Benji at his computer, and we just saw the inner workings of it. I would like to see this organization, because it's kind of this clandestine. Really, we don't know the boundaries of what they do. We know they're international. So it'd be interesting to see. I would like to see more of the inner workings of the organization.
Are you a Star Trek Next Generation fan?
I'm a Trek guy.
Yeah.
I don't have a love or affinity for anyone in particular. I do enjoy it, though.
Because there is an episode on the Next Generation called Lower Decks, where they kind of do an episode from the view of some of the people, lower down the command pole, where they're interacting with our title characters, but you're seeing the story told from their point of view.
I've never heard of that episode. I always love, they do best episodes of this and that, and that's never been ever mentioned in one.
Yes, I mean it's just a cool. It's a different. It's like an
Lower
interesting.
Decks.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to look at our main characters through the eyes of people that are a little bit more down the totem pole. So an episode like that, the Phoenix Foundation, where maybe you're seeing it from Bozer's point of view, a couple other people that he works with, kind of seeing what's it like to deal with MacGyver and Jack and Riley on a daily basis. People that are going off around the world, preventing all these calamities from happening.
So on Lower Decks, is it like a couple of red shirts sitting around going, do you ever see Riker when he tries to sit on a chair? How does he sit on a chair right? Like, it's just those guys noticing like little things that they do.
Yeah, he's always spinning around and
I
sitting.
say that because I just recently found out about that whole...
The way Riker sits in a chair?
Why? Because he had a bad back. Like, he had back problems.
See?
And it hurt to do that, 20 times a day.
Yeah, it's tough fighting
so
the Borg and
mounted the chair.
That's right.
He just mounted that thing.
Always had to get up and play that sax.
So yeah, I'm excited. One thing that it's not bothering me about the show shoots in Atlanta. I actually found out a good friend of mine who I worked with in Orlando at Universal Studios for years is Dalton's stunt double.
Oh, cool.
He's his guy. Like, he was always commenting about, like, check out this week's episode of MacGyver, and I didn't know if maybe he was in the episode or as stunts. He's a stunt guy. But then he did a picture. He had a behind-the-scenes picture of the embassy episode, and it was the MacGyver stunt double, because I knew it wasn't Lucas Till, and him, and he was wearing Dalton's clothes. And I'm like, dude, are you his stunt double? He's like, yeah, I'm his stunt double for the whole season or for the show.
Now, does he get a haircut exactly like George?
Oh yeah, he's got the buzz, like the faux hawk thing and everything. Yeah, and he looks. I think my buddy's better looking than him.
Oh.
And he doesn't seem like George Ead seems like he's a big guy. Like, he's got a wide face. My friend is much more, not thin, but he's in shape. But they do, like, if the distance, the two of them, it looks like, whenever you see stunt doubles, like, is it them? Oh no, it's not them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. So, but what I was going to say is, shoots in Atlanta, and this show is an international show. Every episode we're going some other different country, and shows on, and I don't know if it's a network with CBS, like when you've got your CSIs, they're New York, Vegas, New Orleans, wherever, or your Law and Order shows. It's very easy to recreate those locations, whether it's in Los Angeles or New York. You're shooting. It's very easy. I remember I worked quite a bit on CSI New York, and it was amazing to me how they can take LA and make it look like New York, set dressing wise. But this show, they're in Atlanta, so it's not as I would say a not as location diverse city.
Very true.
And they're doing all these locations. The show feels sometimes cheap to me, and it's no fault of anyone, but it's trying to recreate all these exotic locations.
But you're in Atlanta.
It's very, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, look at Civil War. That's shot in Atlanta, and that whole beginning scene when they're going to the CDC, that was in Atlanta. But they've got a film budget, and they can put a small marketplace and everything to make it look like that. But on a TV budget, it's tough, man. I remember with the original MacGyver, they went, I want to say they did 3 seasons in LA, then went to Vancouver for like 3. And came back for the final one. Yeah, because it was expensive. Because again, that show was international. But I do love that. I don't want them to just stick to the United States. I love the international feel. but it does show a little bit to me.
Well, and I guess that's the thing with X-Files. I mean, being up there in Vancouver for a lot, it was able. But there are cases you get to have, we're in remote places. We're in the woods. It's easy to make any sort of woods in Vancouver look like any woods around the States.
Yeah.
Now all right. So I guess as we've kind of wrapping up our thoughts, why don't we do a few predictions about
where we're going,
where we're heading.
And now your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I don't know, because I think we kind of hit on the head by saying Bozer's got to be brought in somehow. Will the episodes? So with those two, we were kind of close by, in the ballpark, I'd say. But now, I don't know what they're doing.
Well, our next episode on December 9th will be it's called Pliers. So, no information about what the episode is about, but
Nothing?
just based on the name Pliers. What do you think Mac is going to use pliers in during the course of that episode?
Pliers seems so generic, though, for him. But I guess so every episode is just going to be a name of a tool, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I want to say midpoint, we're going to get some kind of Murdoch or Nikki big thing. Halfway, at the halfway point. I don't know.
Because I figure we probably have at least one more episode after this before we get to the winter finale.
Yeah.
So I'll figure and so it's.
What do you think? What do you?
Yeah, I feel like we have to, if we're gonna take a break for 4 weeks or so, we gotta leave on some cool reveal or something that furthers a little bit of that story of Nikki and that other organization.
I would have thought, because I would have thought Murdoch would have been the big mid-season reveal. But they went early with him.
Yeah. So I don't think we're not going to see him, I don't think, until I bet you February sweeps. I bet we see Murdoch then.
Yeah.
So
you think a Nikki thing with their organization, big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to leave you something like, whoa, that's crazy. See you in 4 weeks, and we'll let you know where we're at then.
Yeah.
Because, otherwise, if they just do an episode like this, sure, it's a fun episode, but I figure if you're gonna do the little winter finale kind of deal, you gotta you gotta leave the audience hanging on something.
I'm so curious why Richard Dean Anderson said he was not gonna be a part of the show, because they all wanted him and they said we have a part for him, we want him in it.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, because the show really seems to be staying faithful to the original, almost to a point where it could stand to deviate a little bit at this point, I think.
Yeah, and I feel like, if we're looking at characters like Jack, the idea of making it certainly much more of a buddy kind of drama, I feel like that makes it a little bit better than it was before.
Much more so.
So, I don't know.
And maybe because it's one of those ones hey, we did it. There's no reason you guys aren't doing anything new with it, so.
Yeah, I guess, Richard Dean Anderson, he just, I've been there, I've done that. I don't have to go back and do it if I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't think it doesn't seem he's acting anymore, so maybe I'm sure he's not hurting for money.
No.
I would like to see him back in it, though.
I
really would.
It would be cool. Because I feel like, didn't they want him possibly to play his father?
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
But, but if I see Richard Dean Anderson and he comes back into the show, I want him doing something very similar to what, at least some nods to.
Right.
That, and I have no idea, based on from anything that our version of MacGyver said about his father, I have no idea what his father was like.
No, yeah, that'd be interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, so I feel, I have no idea if he's kind of following in his father's footsteps, so to speak, or he kind of went the opposite direction of his father.
I think that's always the better story, is when they go in the opposite direction of your father. He broke away from what he was doing.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I don't know. But I guess, that's, we're going to be on pins and needles just as much as you are. And it's going to be 2 weeks before we find out what pliers are going to be used for. Fingers crossed.
I don't know how I'm going to get through the holidays. I really don't.
So, folks, that's going to bring us to the end of this episode of the MacGyver After Show. But as always, folks, you can like us on Facebook, give us those 5 stars on iTunes, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks, everybody, for hopping in the chat. And if you want to continue the conversation with us even after the show's over, Mike, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter, at Mike Kalinowski. It's the best way. I'm always on that. Love talking to people.
Great. And what else are you doing here over at the AfterBuzz Network?
I'm a host of DC Movie News. I missed last week, and I think we're done for the holidays. Yeah. We had an episode last Thursday, which I was not a part of. It was a busy week. We get an all-girl spectacular. It was fantastic. All-lady hosts.
Nice.
Great. And then we're going to be coming back right after Thanksgiving.
Very cool.
And also I do the DC Movie News Character Corner, which is kind of like an offshoot of that, where we talk about, I give kind of DC character news and little people that are just finding out about DC characters, I go into the history of the comics and stuff like that.
Look at that. It's a nice primer for anybody that wants to get more involved in the DC universe. Look at that. That's cool. Folks, you can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with episode 10 of MacGyver right here on AfterBuzz TV. We'll see you guys then.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.